Hey, all my webheads out there, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, I am your host, Mike Spider Slayer, bringing you After the Poll XL live and uncut. That's right, guys. This is After the Poll, where I discuss with you, my top 10, or sorry, my highly most anticipated comic books of the week. And, see if they lived up to the hype. And this is actually the first one that I have done in a very long time. And every once in a while, I'll still do the regular video version. And if I make sure I have enough time, I will be doing, this stream live probably every Thursday around 11:30, which I'm bringing to you today. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. If you can hear me, can see me, which I think I'm doing okay, just let me know in the comments below. I have Tevia, who is already on the show. He says hello. And Randy Wells is saying what's up. So welcome, guys. Hopefully you will enjoy this. It's always a lot of fun to bring it. Just wait for a couple of viewers to come on. Rupert's on here and it says, you're good. Tevia says, I hear you and I see ya. Yeah, so I'm able to do this on StreamYard once again because now StreamYard actually has a where you can stream or host a stream on your mobile device, which they never did before. And I found this out the other day, and my Chromebook would always crash or would come in real blurry and stuff like that. So I was like, well, why not try this on my mobile phone and see how it's going? So I'm happy to bring it to you. So Scotty's on the show. He's like, hey, yo, what's up? So yeah, so I got 11 people watching right now, guys. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Like I said, we're going to talk about some of my most anticipated comics for this week and if they live up to that hype. And let's get into it, shall we? So let's see what's going on here. So first things first. If you haven't, which I know you guys already are, but in case you've never watched my channel, of course, subscribe and like, hit the bell. Don't forget, when you do that, it supports the channel. And lately, I know people haven't been getting all my notifications. So I'm letting you guys know out there that, make sure you receive all notifications from me so you don't miss anything from me. Okay, that's very important. Also, before we get started, if you want to become a Webheads member on my Facebook group page, just go on my group page called Comic Book Corner 2.0 Webheads Unite. All right, just go on to there and I'll look over you once you request the approval, make sure you're for real. And then what will happen is I will preview, you will become part of that group. You can share all your comic book hauls. You can share anything that is, your grails. You can share, your top covers. You can share all that stuff out there. It's awesome. It's a great community. Community. What's a community? A community. And as long as you don't spam, that's the one thing. And we don't get political and all that nonsense. It's just there to share all of the stuff that you love about comic books. So if you want to do that, go ahead and join. It's absolutely for free. We're about 50 followers away or subscribers away, whatever you want to call it over there on Facebook, from hitting 1,000. Okay. Also, if you want to support the channel and get some extra perks while doing the live show, you get like super stickers, super chats, all that other crazy weird stuff. And just want to plan out, support the channel, just go ahead, hit the join button on the home screen on YouTube. And again, it helps supports the channel, keeps me going here for all this stuff that I do here on YouTube. So thank you so much in advance. All right. So just to let you know, before we talk about today's comics, there are going to be spoilers. So I'm just putting that out there right now. And if you don't want to see your books get spoiled, please read your books, come back after the fact. Okay, so that's a big deal right there. So who else is on the show before we get started? We got Kevin. He says, what's up, folks? And the Black Knight is on and he says hi. And Epoch or APOC. I don't know if I ever say your name right. Says a communique is a book and no one can afford, so they stock share in it. That's so funny. So yeah, thanks guys for tuning in today. So yeah, it's a little different doing this live. Like I said, I haven't done it by myself in quite a while, so bear with me until I get my bearings here. All right, so first things first here, let's talk about our favorite web slinger. So we're going to be talking about um, Sinister War issue 3. Okay, and then once we get through Sinister War, then we'll take a break and I'll get your guys' comments in there. So yeah, here we go. Sinister War issue 2 was kind of dumb in my opinion. Like we got kind of the motive behind Kindred and why he possessed all of Spider-Man's villains, just basically to destroy Spider-Man, punish him for his sins and things like that. Whenever you throw Kindred in the book, it just does not work for me, right? I just think like he's just this wannabe character, and I get that Nick Spencer is trying to create something a little bit different with a classic character in his story, but I just don't like it because I just feel like all those villains are kind of forced to do his bidding, and they have to, they can't go to hell if they don't kill Spider-Man. It's just a kind of a weird thing. But in this issue, there wasn't too much of Kindred, right? So when you did not get that much of Kindred, you got a lot of the other villains. And like I said, Sinister War is going to be that book where it's just all out action. And there was a ton of action in this book. And the artwork was actually really good. I think Bagley did a great job in this as well. But here, let's take a look at it. So in case you guys want to see it. Okay, so let me take out the banner here. So we got some of that artwork there. You got Spider-Man who's against the wall. He's trying to get out. He can barely talk. You can see he's severely injured. There's just a lot of stuff going on in here, and he's just trying to do anything to escape. And I love that. It's just, I feel like now finally at this point in time, right, we wind up seeing Spider-Man. It's just, he has nothing left to lose. He's got to escape at all costs. And all of a sudden what happens is he's doing battle against the Lizard, the Sinister Six, and everybody else, and he thinks that he has friends by his side, and it was just all a ploy. And in this issue, we really just get to see all of the sinister teams really go against each other here on trying to kill Spider-Man. So what is it? You got Sinister Six, Sinister Syndicate, the Wild Pack, Savage Six, Boomerang, and the superior foes of Spider-Man. They're all going against him, and he's just, again, trying to escape. And I love that. I thought that was a lot of fun. Here you got Kindred, and he's just doing his narration. I kind of like just ignoring that. And then we get to see, I guess, what is it? Sin Eater comes back once again. And we just get to see literally everywhere. And Spider-Man's doing whatever it takes to just say, Doc Ock, this is not you. Free me. You don't have to be under his control. And we wind up getting to see Boomerang in this issue, which I was hoping that Fred would have kind of a change of heart here, since he's gotten so close with Spider-Man throughout Nick Spencer's run. And he basically gives him a running chance, which was kind of cool. And it had some good emotion in there in a very action-packed story. So Nick Spencer somehow fit that in there, which I thought was really kind of good. So I like this issue. I thought this issue was definitely a lot better. We get to see Spider-Man just against all odds. He has no help against him. And I like this one. I think this one was good. This was definitely a plus. Where does it go from here? I still don't know. Where we get Mary Jane and Peter's marriage happen again. Is Peter going to die before that? Who knows? But I thought it was a good book. I definitely say it was recommend the read this week, and definitely pick this one up. Just a good read, action. That's what I like. I like action in a Spider-Man book, especially when you're going to put all the villains in there, right? So let's see who we have. Tevia says, any opinion on the Eternals trailer? Was there another trailer that was dropped like yesterday? Because I don't know. I saw the most recent one, I think, during the Olympics, and I'm still not a fan of it. I don't have any desire to see that movie. It doesn't look entertaining. However, I am going to watch it because I think it's going to introduce something in the Marvel universe, right? Randy Wells says, what's everyone's favorite book from yesterday? Go ahead, put that in the comment section, guys, in the chat, and we'll discuss it. Okay. Fab Cab says, hey, Mike, what's up, Fab Cab? Welcome to the show. Tevia, honestly, at this point, all I want is the answers. And if we're going to retcon one more day, we got to wait a little bit longer. Believe it or not, there's only one more issue of Sinister War, and then Sinister War is done. So we're going to get there. Randy says, I just started reading comics this year. I wish I was reading the Spidey books, but from what I hear, they haven't been all that great. So I've stayed away and I'm already reading so much. Well, you know, that's fine. If you don't want to jump into a middle of a writer's run, that's okay. Just if you want to read Spider-Man, read it after issue 75 or 70. Read it at 76. That's when the new status quo goes in play. That's when you want to jump on Spider-Man. All you're going to know is that he's either dead or in a coma and Mary Jane's crying, and Ben Reilly Spider-Man is taking over the mantle. All right. Kevin says, you can feel the pressure they have on Spidey. Yes, you can absolutely feel that pressure. And that's what I've been talking about this entire run with Nick Spencer. Like, throughout the run, it feels like Spider-Man had nothing. There's nothing there. There was nothing at stake. Nothing was hard for him, right? It was just an easy battle, all done. And finally, in this issue, Nick Spencer hits that, right? So you feel that he's desperate, and you've never felt that from the character in Nick Spencer's run. You never felt the desperation from him. So yeah. Let's see. Tevye says, also Sin Eater has returned for some stranger. I don't know why they brought him back again in this book. Marvel dumped one today, I think. What does that mean? I'm not sure. Tevye's favorite book is Nightwing. Mr. Smeed Lasher. Mr. Smeed says, hey all. Hatbox Hank says, I'm mad at the Eternals because they didn't stop Thanos before he killed Robert Downey Jr. Mr. Smeed says, Hatbox, maybe because one of the Eternals is Thanos' mother. I don't know. We'll see. Tevye says, also, why is Doc Ock being an idiot? Because didn't he make a deal with Mephisto? Did he make a deal with Mephisto? Yeah, I think it was. It was kind of like he went back to the old way, but he doesn't remember anything that happened in the past. And maybe Spider-Man now is trying to kind of get in his head a little bit, and that's why he hesitated, right? So Mass Panic, they're saying hi to Tevye. So, all right, guys. So thank you so much for watching. And C-List E-Man says, good morning. What it do, fam? So thanks, guys, for tuning in. So like I said, you can expect this live stream every Thursday, probably around this time, unless I have something going on, and then you're going to get just a video version of After the Poll. But I want to make this a regular thing. So just me and all the webheads and the comic book community out there can come together. We can chat with me, right? So, and I haven't done it in a long time, but now that I have a little bit more free time in the mornings, once again, you guys are here. All right, so let's move on to our next book. We talked about Sinister War issue 3, right? And so now we're going to talk about Nightwing issue 83. How many of you guys read your Nightwing issue out there? Remember, there's spoilers, so if you have not read Nightwing, come back and watch. So yes, we're talking about Nightwing issue 83. This has honestly been my favorite book. In all of DC, and probably one of my favorite books just in general as of right now. I wish all DC books or all comic books in general were like this. I think Tom Taylor is doing a wonderful job here, and he really knows how to capture the character's emotions, which I think is really good. And this one was another one. I kid you not, by the time I got done reading this book, this one made me a little teary-eyed. I'm not going to lie. This one was tough to swallow a little bit. You know, we have Dick Grayson, who's obviously trying to figure out what he wants to do with all the money that he has inherited from Alfred, right? And we've gotten to see that struggle a little bit, and we've taken a break from Heartless, and this is a more grounded book. Here continues the interior artwork on this. Okay, so we have that going on right there in case you guys want to see that art. Love the action scenes in this book. I think it's so well done. Right, every time there's an action scene, I'm like, oh, I can't wait what happens. Check out the facial expressions. So good, man. Love it. Absolutely love it. So what happens in this issue? So basically what happens, it starts off with a lot of action. And that's what I love about this. When you see the action here, you're just like, oh man, it's so good, right? And so what happens is you wind up seeing Dick do battle against Blockbuster. He's basically chasing him. They're running up the stairs, they're running up the building. You got all his people firing freaking guns at him and stuff. And he takes the people out and he's just like, here, take the keys and like, fly away. And once again, like Nightwing gets so beat up in this issue because he's still recovering from coma. He's still recovering from his head injury from when he got shot and had amnesia. And dude, he's just going through so freaking much. And he like passes out for 2 days, and then after this part, the book gets really emotional. Dick actually tries to get advice from Superman, which I think was a really good moment. And I think it made sense, especially since Tom is writing the new Superboy title. It's kind of was like a little plug for his title since it's only on issue 2. And it was cool how he gave him some great advice there on who he is and what Batman is. And what I like about this book too is like Dick is opposite from Bruce, right? It's like Bruce wants to save the city, but he does it in like a very brutal way. And then Nightwing, with all his money, he wants to open up charities and all that stuff. And I thought that was awesome, man. And the great moment in here was one, we wind up getting to see Dick and Barbara share that kiss. So that they're actually, together. And then you wind up getting to see him open up his charity, which is cool. And I thought the greatest thing in this book, and this was the part that actually made me, tear up a little bit, is that Bruce winds up calling Dick and he says, I know, I'm sorry, but you, Dick, you honored him today. And he just said, thank you. And you saw the picture of Alfred there, and it's just like knowing Bruce, he's thinking of Alfred right there, and that Bruce is like thinking of Dick right there and going, man, I did something right with this kid, right? So one thing that he did right, and it was awesome. And then you get to see a little picture there with Heartless at the end with all his bottles of hearts, man. So I thought that was pretty creepy at the end, and I can't wait to see this guy. So yeah, we'll see what that has to offer there. So really cool stuff when it came to Nightwing. I thought this book was phenomenal once again. Really great here. So yeah, let me know in the comments, guys, what you thought about Nightwing, right? All right. So let's see what you guys thought here. Tevye is talking about Superior Spider-Man. Yeah, he did in Superior Spider-Man. Okay, that's what I thought when it came to him. The Black Knight goes, I just watched the new Eternals trailer. This one looks a lot cooler. So if this is a newer one that just recently came out, just let me know. Like I said, I saw one during the Olympics, so I don't know if that's the newest one or not. So I'll check it out if it is and see if it still sells me on it, right? If it does sell me on it. All right. Scott Henry says, UPS didn't deliver to my local comic book shop yesterday. Didn't get any Marvel. Dude, I feel your pain. There was weeks where I did not get any of my comic books, and I stressed my opinion on that on my comic book haul videos for weeks. So hopefully you get your books next week, right? All right. Next, we wind up having Joffrey, who's on the show. He says, hey, guys. C-List E-Man says, I love your recorded videos, but live videos is where it's at now. Glad to see you live, my friend. Yeah, I love doing them too. I love live videos myself. It's just a matter of getting the time to do them, right? And the right setup. Even right now, I don't think I look all that clear based off of my phone because I'm using StreamYard. So I'm always trying to see which one is better, if it's YouTube or StreamYard. And it's like I like StreamYard a little bit better because it looks a little bit more professional. Because I can hopefully I can show comments if I want to, which is kind of cool. And I still got to get used to that again. Right. So let's see if I can get you guys comments up there. It's not going to scroll, is it? So let's see. Tevia says, I'm happy Dick Grayson Nightwing got to talk to Superman about John Kent Superboy, which made me happy. So that's pretty cool right there. So let's see if I get some comments here to show up, because that's what I'm trying to go. So just bear with me here, guys. There we go. So we got one. Yeah, I love to talk with Superman. So that was cool. And it says, this Nightwing run has made me an instant fan of Nightwing, and I started watching Titans. Oh, really? So that's pretty cool. I have not watched Titans. So I guess we're talking about the artwork in the book. The artwork was actually gorgeous. Tevia says, yay, Dick and Babs being a couple. That's pretty cool. Made me so happy, and hopefully Teen Titans Academy doesn't ruin it. Oh boy, let's see. Yeah, it's a new one, Marvel's YouTube page. Oh, okay, so I'll check it out. So I'll definitely check it out. John saying, yeah, it's just still, I'm still not sold on it. Black Knight says, I like the live video. Plus, I was glad to see you back on Comic Frontline this week. Yeah, that's right. I am happy to be back on Comic Frontline, or on Comic Book Weekly, now that it's called Comic Book Weekly. Like I said, I have my summer work schedule. It's always very hectic at that time. And so I have to cut back a lot of stuff during the summertime. So now that that's over, I can get back into the regular routine, do more videos, do more live streams and things like that. Because now I only work in the evening times. Selma Hayek is still rocking it at 54. She is a gorgeous girl, man. She really is. Always has been. All right, so let's move forward, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. So we're going to talk about the next one. We're going to go into the independent book, and we're going to talk about Radiant Black. This is issue 7. So, right, that's where we're at. How many of you guys out there are reading Radiant Black? And if you're not, go ahead and check it out. It is, the first trade was released yesterday, issues 1 through 6. It's for $10. You can easily get caught up with it. No problem at all. And you'll love it. I mean, for $10, you can't beat it, right? I think it's a great book. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit like Power Rangers, but it doesn't read like Power Rangers, right? The only thing that's similar is like there's a bunch of characters. They all have a little bit different powers, and they're all color coded like the Power Rangers. But besides that, there's really nothing, there's not too much similarities in there. Now, in this issue, we get a lot of action because we wind up seeing these characters, or this one character, this villain in here. His name is, I guess they're calling him the Glitch for right now, because he glitches in and out, and he follows all the other Radiant characters, and he kicks the crap out of them. So here's what this guy looks like. So he looks pretty cool. And I wonder if that's, and it wears a cape. And then we get a pink person on the back. But yeah, it like glitches in and out, follows them all throughout, and you just see a lot of action in this book. And I thought it was a lot of fun. And we get to see a lot of trust issues between these characters because no one knows each other. So you're just getting kind of this, tip of the iceberg here when it comes to these characters and them interacting with each other. Obviously, what's his name? Who is the new Radiant Black character name? I totally forgot his name. I don't quite remember, but he's having the trust issues with the Radiant Red character in the book because, obviously he basically put his best friend in the coma, or not coma, basically killed him. So, you get a lot of that in this issue. It's just a lot of them working together for the first time. You're getting to know their personalities. Again, you wind up getting to see this glitch villain come through. They get transported all over the place. It looks like they get transported to some kind of war where we saw the robot that selected the Radiant Black character also. Then they wind up getting transported back. Then they wind up going to some mountain, and then they got separated. And then in the midst of the battle, we found out about the glitch character that he didn't survive this fall, or he got knocked out in this fall when they were doing the fight, and now they're going to unmask him and find out actually who he is. So who is this glitch character? We don't know. We still don't know really anything about any of the characters. We knew about the guy that died, right? And then we know a little bit about Radiant Red, which is good. And then we know about the best friend, who's the new Radiant Black. But who is this glitch guy? Who's the Radiant Yellow? Who's the Radiant Pink person? So yeah, there's just so many questions that I have. So I think it's Marshall. I think Marshall is the new Radiant Black guy. But yeah, I really like this issue. I love this story. I think it's definitely worth the read. Especially if you're looking for a cheap trade, definitely pick this one up, guys. You won't be disappointed with this at all. So much fun here. So let's see what you guys have to say. Any new comments? Very hard to look at it on YouTube and on my screen. Let's see. Tevi is just saying interesting. That makes sense. Tevi, are you reading Radiant Black? Anybody out there reading Radiant Black? Let me know. And the people that are watching right now, yes or no? Let me know. Next thing that we're going to be talking about today is Nocterra. This is issue 6. So we have Nocterra here, and this is another independent book that's good. Hopefully you guys are reading this one. Nocterra is maybe just as good, or if not better, than Radiant Black. So Tevi is like, oh, I do want to check it out someday. All right. So, and Kevin is reading it. All right. So Nocterra was a pretty interesting issue once again, because Val finds out that the main bad guy here, or the person that's in charge of this sanctuary, actually is working with the big bad boss person, right? She was walking in on the conversation. She said she was going to stay. Now that she hears them actually speaking, yeah, it just doesn't go out so well, right? So next thing, she tries to grab a gun, and from there on out, all hell just breaks loose. Everything kind of goes down the shitter from there, and we wind up getting to see her getting held up. So now they're forced to actually stay, and they have to try to escape. And like I said, Tony S. Daniels' artwork is so good in this book. There's so much action with them trying to escape. We wind up getting to see the guy that's in charge of the sanctuary. He was like brothers with the other guy that wound up becoming a shade creature. And he's making a deal with the big bad boss guy. You know, he's like, oh, kill him, do whatever it is that you want with them. And like I said, you get to see them escape. Just an awesome book. This is just something that you're not going to want to miss. It's so much fun. You wind up seeing the brother do battle against the other brother, the brother that became a PM shade creature. And check out this art page here. And hopefully you can see it. But again, this is StreamYard's crappy quality, HD quality that they have when you're on the free version. So I might switch it to YouTube next week instead of streaming through here. But you get to see him tear them up. They wind up escaping. They find the 18-wheeler that they're on, and then she comes across like her best friend that comes and rescuing her, which I thought was really cool. And this book here, what made it even better is because Val has a saying, like, you know, when things are going wrong, we always look at the negative side of things. We always look at, you know, when the bad things happen, where were you type of situation, right? Well, in this situation, she said, well, why don't we flip that script around and say, when we're in a good situation, when we saw the light, where were you that first day? And I love that because she's flipping it and looking at the positive side of things instead of looking at the negative. So that was kind of like your feel good moment of the day when it came to Nocterra. I really like this. It's such a good book, man. And I definitely recommend this one as well. I don't think there's a trade out for this, but I think we have one more issue for, I guess, the conclusion maybe of this story arc. So check it out. All right. So Tevi is like, well, I got to go. So I need to go get some lunch. All right. Well, enjoy your lunch. That's why I wanted to do this show during lunchtime. So if you guys were eating lunch, you definitely had something to watch while you were eating lunch. So hopefully you enjoy it. All right. So Kevin's like, oh, yeah, Nocterra is awesome as well. So cool. Glad you're enjoying it. All right. So next thing we're going to be talking about is, oh, boy. X-Men, The Trial of Magneto. I was not anticipating this book at all, but based off of what happened with Scarlet Witch, I had to actually try this one and see what this one was about. My initial assumption of this book was there's going to be a lot of standing around, there's going to be a lot of talking, there's going to be a lot of judgment, and it's going to be boring. And when I read this issue, I was absolutely 100% correct. Oh my God. I was outside reading this book while my dog was playing around, and I was falling asleep while reading it. And this is straight up first thing in the morning. And I'm not tired in the morning, guys. Like, I usually get my kids ready to school. I usually walk my dog to the bus stop with my son. I get their lunches ready. I had already read 2 issues before that. And then I read Trial of Magneto. And I get like 15 pages into this shit. And I'm just like, oh my God. This is just like, I wanted to just pull my hair out of my head because it was just that boring for me. It took so long to tell a story that could have been easily 10 pages, 20 pages, whatever. This is a $4.99 book. It does have extra pages, so I think it was 40 pages, and it was just god-awful boring, right? And so predictable, obviously, because it's the trial of freaking Magneto. So you know that Magneto is going to get blamed for the death, and he's not going to, he's not going to admit to it, right? So let's look at the artwork in this. So let's bring this banner down. Let's look at this right here. So hopefully you guys can see it in a little blurriness. Okay, so we get to see some artwork there. Artwork looked good. That I'll give the book for sure. It looks pretty good. But you can see the dialogue in this issue. And I don't have a problem with dialogue in a book as long as it tells a good story and it makes it a page turner. But this was not a page turner, man. This was just a snooze fest. It just kept going and going and going. So what happened in this book? I'll tell you in the short version. So in case you're still on the fence about buying it and you're actually watching this, right? You might want to pass on this because this is not a recommended book from me this particular week. So right from the start, you wind up getting X Factor investigating the crime scene of Scarlet Witch. It's just like CSI X Factor version, right? And they're using all their powers and everything and be like, oh, Scarlet Witch was dragged, her windpipe was crushed and it lined up. She was handcuffed by using these magnetized ties, and then she wound up dying. So obviously everyone is accusing Magneto in the whole situation. You get the eyeball kid that can see all kinds of stuff, and he sees things. And you get Polaris, who's totally upset at the situation when they all come to the conclusion that they think obviously that it's Magneto, right? So a little bit of interesting thing here is that obviously the council is kind of blaming Magneto and everything's going on. He's yelling at everybody. He's like, I didn't do it. He's like, you guys are weak and everything else. And he almost like crushes Xavier's head, and Xavier actually takes off his helmet in this book, which is kind of funny. You don't see that too often. And they had to take a vote to see if they could actually resurrect Scarlet Witch because she's not a mutant, right? So the vote was no. So she's going to stay dead. They're not going to resurrect her. However, by the time you get to the end of this book, you find out that she's in a way still alive. Okay. So Magneto is obviously leaving. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you're under arrest for, killing Scarlet Witch. And then he starts killing it. He starts trying to battle against everybody and stuff like that. You wind up seeing a little bit of an emotional moment, but it was like really super quick with the news being brought to the Avengers from Charles Xavier, and Vision takes it the hardest. So you get to see that scene, but it was just a very short scene. There could have been more emotion in a book where this character meant a lot to people, and it really wasn't, because they were so bogged down with the crime scene investigation and everything that was going on in here, right? So yeah, definitely just disappointing, drawn out, didn't need all these fight scenes that happened in it. It was just rough. And then you get to see him doing battle against Polaris, which was sad. And yeah, and then he winds up getting knocked out by Quicksilver. He almost wound up getting killed. They put him in the healing gardens, and obviously he's going to go into question. He's going to go into trial. And Quicksilver's all pissed off. He's crying. And then you get the revelation that, like, Scarlet Witch is kind of like not really dead. She's like somewhere else, right? So she says she was killed, but then she's like, I died, and yet where am I? She goes, I know that I'm not dead. So she's somewhere, some other universe, who knows? But I don't know. I don't think I'm continuing this. I don't know what you guys thought of this book. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know when you read this post live what you thought of Magneto, the trial of Magneto. But this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. And I guess it lived up to my low expectations. So definitely a letdown in my opinion. So I don't recommend this book. I don't recommend you spending the $5 on this one. All right. Let's see. Epoch says the book nobody asked for. And he says no refunds. Kevin goes, I did like Magneto showing his bad guy side again. So if anything, if you want Magneto to be a bad guy once again, then yes, I agree with you there. It's like, oh, let's make him a bad guy again, right? So you wind up getting to see that. Whether he stays a bad guy is still yet to be determined, right? So I know, we'll see. All right. So let's move on now and talk about Kang the Conqueror. This is issue 1. So Kang the Conqueror, super hot right now because of Loki. Everyone's buying his back issues, his old school books, his first appearances. And I hate to say, like, I had a chance at actually buying that first appearance Avengers before, like, those books wound up getting overly expensive. Like, we had announced Loki, the TV show, but Kang wasn't that hot yet. And I remember probably the price was like, man, I want to say like $200, and I passed on it, right? I was like, it seems like too much money. It wasn't the highest grade issue. Man, did I make a mistake now? I wish I could have gotten that book, because that book is going for some god awful money right now. Holy cow. So yeah, I wish I would have had it now. So Epoch goes, I dropped the X titles. I think Hickman had a 3-phase plan for Dawn of X and didn't get a third through it. Now he's off. Such a dragged out Krakoa narrative. Yeah, it's drawn out longer than it actually should have. And he never really got to tell his story. So that is kind of sad. We'll see where X-Men goes, who takes it over from here after, well, we got Jerry Duggan that took it over, but like with all the other X books and how the story goes from there on out, I guess what I'm saying in the whole world of the X-Men, the grand scheme of things, right? All right, so we got Kang the Conqueror issue 1. Let's check out the artwork in this book, which actually looks pretty good. I don't have any complaints. Oh, wow, I skipped this first freaking page. I didn't read this page when I opened it. When I opened it, I opened it right to here. So, but here's the interior artwork. So it looked pretty good, right? I love the colors. I like the color of Kang. I like the purple and like green color suit that he wears. We get to see him in like the dinosaur age on Earth, which is kind of cool. Pretty good facial expressions, good characters in there. So I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. Now, the thing that I liked about this book is that if you're not really a Kang fan or don't know about Kang that much, I think this is a really good jumping on point for the character. And for me, I really don't know that much about Kang. And I never seemed to be a real fan of the character because I never really was into time travel all that much. And time travel stories still don't interest me all that much because they just they just don't go well in my brain. You know, sometimes it goes over the head or I miss something or I feel like it's a big cop out in comics. Like it's like, oh, we want to fix something that happened 10 years ago. Let's go back in time and fix it. It's super convenient. It's super easy. So that's why I never got into this character. But in this book, we wind up getting to see Kang, and he meets up with his younger self, and he tries to fix everything, all the mistakes that he has made. So he's trying to like basically raise him as a from a young boy, right? And then we get to see young Kang the Conqueror or young Kang. What's the kid's name? Nathaniel? I don't even know the dude's name. I've totally forgot. This is what sucks about live videos. Like I gotta leave you guys hanging, you know? I totally forgot his name. Um, but he basically lives in a world where it's like kids don't survive past the age of 10 and stuff, and he wants to figure it out. So he goes time traveling. Kang finds him, brings him to the crustacean period or the dinosaur age, and what happens is he tries to raise him there, and he tries to make him into a man within the year that the Earth has left to live before that asteroid comes and hits the Earth. And Kang teaches him a lot, right? Gives him a lot of life lessons, how to survive, how to do certain things. And he looks up to Kang. But then he winds up finding out that Kang is a drunk and he actually fell in love at one time. And he's telling him, don't fall in love. You know, it will conquer you. That's the only time I've ever been conquered. And then right away, what happens is our young hero at the time saved this young girl in this tribe, and he found out that there was more humans on the earth at this time, and he wanted to save them. And Kang was like, no, you can't do this. That's going to make you weak. You fell in love. And they start fighting against each other. And then young Kang winds up betraying him and winds up taking his suit, and he starts time traveling from there. And at the end of the issue, you wind up seeing him go into the Ramatut's empire, which I thought was kind of cool. And then so you're going to get that story about Kang in the next issue. So I thought this one was actually really interesting. It gave you a lot of insight to the character, where he came from. Very entertaining, and makes me want to learn more about him. And I could become a fan of the character when I didn't like him. And I feel like, you know, being that we have the show and we have this comic, I'll learn a lot more about him before we do get season 2 of Loki and Ant-Man. So I like this. I really enjoyed this. So if you're kind of on the fence about Kang the Conqueror, or you think like the character's been overhyped, check it out, man. I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. I think this is a lot of fun. All right. So let's see. All right, guys. So that's going to be the last comic that we talk about. So if you have any other questions, comments, this is the Ask the Mike Spider Slayer segment of the show. Just put them away in the comment section below. And let's see what we have so far when it comes to anything else. So Tony says, I got a mid-grade for like $50 a few years back. Glad I did. Wow, that's pretty cool. So what did you get? Like a 6? A 6.0? And so now that book is probably going for like a $1,000 maybe. I don't know. I have no idea what a 6.0 would go for at this point, but I know people are paying so much money for it, right? All right. And then Epoch says, picked up an Avengers giant size issue 2 for $5 last year. Ramatut Origins, etc. Never thought it would be $200. Yeah, I don't think anybody did. I don't think anyone expected Kang the Conqueror books to be so much money, right? Ozzy the Ozman said, came in late. Have we discussed Black Cat yet? I left Black Cat out of this discussion for this week. Um, I will talk about it in Comic Book Weekly. So hopefully you can join me and the rest of the crew on Tuesday night. I did not read that issue yet. Usually, when I select a lot of these books, it's new number ones, a couple independents, and then a DC book. So I didn't want a third Marvel book in there. But I hope Black Cat is good. So let me know if it was good in the comment section there. Um, Epoch says, not yet, Ozzy. Yeah, see. Randy Wells, have you been reading The Walking Dead Deluxe? It's what brought me to comics, and it's my first time reading The Walking Dead. So, Randy, I have the first 20 issues of The Walking Dead Deluxe, and I just stopped collecting it because I have issues, I think, 20 all the way up to its conclusion. So I've read the entire story, even the first issues, and I felt like, all right, I got enough Walking Dead, and I have a lot of the trades, so I didn't want to collect any more of the Walking Dead Deluxe. It's great to see it in color. I think it's beautiful. I just don't need the additional story there in individual issues. But if it's your first time ever reading Walking Dead, man, oh man, you're going to be in for a wonderful treat. It is such a good story, especially this time while they're in the prison. You're going to meet the governor. You're going to meet Negan. You're going to meet all these characters along the way. It's so good, man. Enjoy every single issue of that. It's awesome. All right. Epoch says, I picked up Avengers John Sizes shoe. Ramata Ords. Okay, we talked about that one. Okay. Rob's on the show. Says, afternoon, folks. What's up, Rob? Mike says, got to go back to work. Thanks, Mike. No problem, Mike. Thank you for joining the show. Like I said, guys, this is during maybe hopefully your lunch hour and you get some time to watch it. That's why I kind of wanted to do it around this time. Tevi is back from lunch, I guess. I gave up on Walking Dead a long time ago. Well, I can understand that. I mean, I read its entirety, so I thought it was great. Invincible, in my opinion, was personally my favorite over The Walking Dead. What I liked about Invincible and The Walking Dead was they were two completely opposite books, right? You got an end of the world scenario, and then you got Mark, who is a superhero, and living on Earth and trying to protect Earth and having a family, and it was great. I loved it, and yet it took the superhero genre to a whole other level because it made it into a real life story. Like there was consequences in superhero books like Marvel and DC. You don't see those consequences as much, especially when it comes to the innocents, right? You don't see that as much, but when it comes to Invincible, you do get to see the casualties. You do get to see that death toll. You do get to see all those buildings crumble to the ground. And that's what I love about Invincible. It's a very realistic approach to a superhero comic book. So really, really good there. Loved it. Ozzy the Ozman says, it was great. I'm sure you'll love it. I'll make sure to tune in Tuesday. I'm very sad that McKay is leaving Black Cat in a couple of months. Hopefully another writer continues it soon. So I know McKay is leaving the book. Is the book ending and another writer is taking it over, or is that book completely ending? And I know she's going to get a new status quo with all this Infinity stuff going on, but the way he writes her is perfect. She's classy, she's sophisticated, she's sexy, she's confident, and I love the way she is written in that series. So really good stuff. All right. we got another question about the Eternals trailer. I'm gonna have to watch this. I will watch it and see if it's any better and if it hooks me. And Tevi said also had stakes. Yeah, absolutely. Invincible did have stakes. Kevin goes, I like Black Cat. I just got caught up on it this week. Good. Glad you like it. I think these past couple of issues, it's really hitting its stride. The last issue, I think issue 8, I think it was really good. And then I think we have issue 9, which came out this week, I think. And it's, I think it's just really good also. So, yeah. All right. Randy Wells says, I love the post apocalyptic genre, and I've been a fan of the show since it started with the show ending. Yeah, absolutely. It's so good. I love the same thing, the apocalyptic genre. I think it's great. I'm always like, oh, what happens if the world's going to end? Like, I love seeing in comic books like the world crumbling and the world falling apart. I like that more than them trying to survive in it because I just love seeing the demise. That might make me a little bit dark, but let's see. Um, oh, so Ozzy says she reminds me of Buffy. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I could see that. Tevi goes, I dropped the Infinity stuff because it is so boring. But see, this is so like loosely like right now. The story barely even talks about the Infinity Stones. And it's actually more about her as a character and what she does to complete a job, and that's what makes it so much better, right? So really cool. All right, let's see. And the Black Knight says, with Bendis leaving, who would you like to see on the main Justice League title? Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I didn't like Justice League as it was right now with Brian Michael Bendis on the title. And you know who I really loved on the Justice League title for the short time that he was on there was Robert Venditti. I think in the one story arc that he did, it was phenomenal. So I would love to see him make his return and continue to write that book. I think it was awesome. He wrote like one story arc and I loved it, right? And then Brian Michael Bendis is like, you put Naomi in there because it's his character and all this other crap. It was just some stupid what's the villain's name? Was it like Brutus or something like that? Like, I don't want to see an overhulking other character like Doomsday come and take over the earth. Like we've seen that alien invasion crap 1,000 times. So it's just like that's why I dropped Justice League. And if Brian Michael Bendis goes, well, then he goes. And I feel like he is. If he's bringing all his, you know, Jinx World stuff to Dark Horse Comics, then I definitely think he is going to go, and that will be the last of him over there. And I think actually, if there's a place he can help, it would be Dark Horse. I think Dark Horse actually needs titles. I don't hear hardly anything from them anymore. And I don't really buy that much stuff from Dark Horse at all, right? So I don't know. We'll see what happens with Mr. Brian Michael Bendis, but I really miss the old days of the way he used to write, when it came to Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and some of the other stuff that he wrote back in the day. Even the early days of the X-Men that he wrote was really good. And I don't know, man. For me, wasn't a fit in DC Comics, right? All right. So next we have Kevin, who says Chip is awesome on Last Ride. Yeah, I agree. I think he is really good. I really enjoyed that last issue of Last Ride. Um, Very emotional issue where we got to see the death of Martian Manhunter, and we found out that you can't blame Batman for the death of him, right? Superman may do that and hold a grudge against him, but at the end of the day, John volunteered, and that was a heart wrenching moment when he said his final words, and the characters' facial expressions on there were just, oh man, it gripped at that heart big time, right? All right, so let's see. I would love to see a Black Cat movie as well. Justice League Last Ride is amazing, right? Tevi says Bendis' time on DC Comics is so infuriating and not interesting, and frankly, his Superman run was garbage. Same goes with his Justice League. Listen, at the end of the day, you don't like a writer, that's fine. I totally get it. You got to remember, though, try to be in the respectful grounds of the writer because this is their livelihood. This is what they do for a living. And Brian Michael Bendis is a well-accomplished writer. Whether he doesn't have it anymore, a totally different thing, right? So, all right. The everyday non-expert. The beauty of the darker stories is how humanity always finds the light through the darkness of times. The darker the scenario, the harder it is. Yet they still find it, and it's almost reassuring that. Yeah, that's cool. No matter how dark things get, humanity can find the light and preserve. That's a very well way to say that. And that's what happened in Nocterra, right? Very dark moment. And Val made it a thing to say, you know, where were you when that light came through? Where was that moment that you remember? And that statement there, you know, proves that, right? Figure drawing says Bendis may simply be burned out. Maybe a long vacation is in order. Yeah, I think so. I think he is burnt out. He's written so much and has done so much. It's like, what does he have left in the tank, right? The only thing that saved Bendis' Superman run was Ivan Rice. Awesome artwork, or is it Reese artwork? Yeah, his artwork is absolutely gorgeous. Wonderful to look at. Epoch says Bendis gave us Ultimate Spider-Man. Not sure where the malfunction happened. Shazadam. As soon as Miles Morales Spider-Man went to the main universe, that's when it went down the tubes. When Marvel said, you know what? Let's get rid of the Ultimate Universe and bring all these characters here or wipe them out. That's when I think it went down the tubes for him. I wish they still had an Ultimate Universe. All right. So Tevia's final comment here before I go is, as a person, Bendis is a nice guy. I respect him for a lot of hard work. However, his recent stuff, not so much. And honestly, I hate to say it, but Bendis should go back to indie. Well, if he goes back to Dark Horse, then there you go. He gets to put all his independent titles out, and that might be a better place for him. All right, guys. So I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. Like I said earlier in this broadcast, or this live stream. This is going to be a weekly thing unless otherwise, you know, on a particular week I get super slammed or busy and I'll just do this video version. But you can expect after the poll live stream. So hopefully you guys will tune in around this time every week. And if not, you'll catch it on the post live. But I appreciate your time taking the moment to comment and watching this. So thank you guys. Have a great afternoon, and I'll see you on that next video. Take care. See you soon. Bye, guys.